Hello viewers, welcome to the editorial analysis by Drishti IAS. In this section, we regularly take editorials from various newspapers and news portals for a better understanding of various issues happening in India and around the globe. Dear viewers, in this section, we first try to link the editorial with our UPSC syllabus. Then we go analytical in order to understand some key points and at last some important concepts. Dear viewers, we truly hope that you like this initiative taken by Drishti IAS and your feedbacks are important for us. So kindly feel free to give your important feedbacks in the comment section. So without any further delay, let's commence our session.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
Today's editorial is taken from The Hindu, published on 15th of January 2021. The title of today's editorial is Terror Trail. If we try to summarize today's editorial, we can say that Pakistan's action against terrorists is welcome, but nowhere near enough. If we try to link today's editorial with our UPSC syllabus, we can link it with GS Paper 2, which has sections that include polity, constitution, governance, and international relations. Some key points from today's editorial. In his speech to the United Nations Security Council, marking 20 years since the resolutions that announced a global commitment to the war against terror after the 9/11 attacks on the United States of America, the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar made a pitch for greater coordination between counter-terrorism agencies worldwide. Now, in his speech to the United Nations Security Council, the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has made a very clear voice about the requirement of even more coordination between the counter-terrorism agencies that are acting worldwide. Now, the occasion on which Mr. S. Jaishankar raised this statement was the marking of 20 years since the resolutions were passed against the global commitment to fight a war against terrorism that actually were taken place after the United States of America saw the tragedy of 9/11 attacks. He highlighted the necessity to streamline the process of the United Nations top body in designating terrorist organizations while strengthening coordination in the agencies that check their financial resources. One of the most important things which Mr. S. Jaishankar highlighted was the necessity that there has to be a proper streamlining of the process, that how actually our terrorist organization is being designated as one. And also there has to be a very strong check on how these organizations are able to get their financial resources. It has to be ensured that all the sources from where these organizations get financial support, all those sources are to be stopped immediately. And in order to do so, there has to be a very good coordination between all the agencies that are fighting against terrorism at this point of time. First, the world must acknowledge that terrorist organizations use not only extortion and money laundering, drugs and wildlife trafficking to raise funds, but in the present and future will use loopholes in digital security and anonymity that is provided by blockchain technology to access the finances. One more very important aspect that was given by Mr. S. Jaishankar was that he said the world has to recognize that these terrorist organizations, unlike the olden times, they are not using the money from extortion or money laundering or making money from drug trade or wildlife trafficking. No. With the advent of technology, this technology has also proved as a boon for these terrorist organizations. It has been said that in the future and as well as in the present, these organizations are using the loopholes which are present in digital security and also the transaction methods using blockchain technology in order to get access to the finances. Now, if I speak about blockchain technology, so blockchain basically it is a system of recording information in a way that makes it difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat the system. A blockchain is essentially a digital ledger of transaction that is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of computer system on the blockchain. So we have to make sure that these technical loopholes, they are also being checked, and all the sources from where these organizations are getting their funds have to be completely taken care of. Second, in a clear reference to Pakistan, he spoke of the need to link the action between the United Nations and the FATF, that is the Financial Action Task Force, and for countries that willfully provide financial assistance and safe havens, as well as five-star treatment to criminals and terrorists, to be held to account by them. One very more important thing which Mr. Jaishankar said was that United Nations has to establish a proper link with FATF, and these organizations have to combine together and do something against all those countries which are providing financial assistance as well as safe havens to the criminals and the terrorists which are operating from their lands. Now it is high time that United Nations along with the Financial Action Task Force looks into this matter and try to get into the depth of it. Only then this issue can be resolved properly. If we speak about the present scenario, the words of Mr. Jaishankar are significant given that FATF committee, the Asia Pacific Joint Group, is meeting this week to finalize a recommendation for the FATF on whether to continue Pakistan's grey listing status, downgrade it to blacklist, or let it off. Decisions that India is watching closely. Now, a very important meeting is going to take place this week. The Asia Pacific Joint Group of the FATF is actually meeting in order to finalize what recommendations they will give to the FATF on the matter of Pakistan. Pakistan, which is right now serving in the grey list of FATF, is expecting that this time, after he has followed the 27-point action plan that was given by FATF to fight against terrorism. Now, Pakistan expects that with all the work which Pakistan has done, it is expecting that the status will not be downgraded, or moreover, it is expecting that the grey list status will also be taken off. With this entire events happening, India is actually watching this entire thing very closely because India knows about Pakistan. Like Pakistan in the past as well has done these activities. Whenever it faces the threat of sanctions, it starts taking some actions against terrorists and the activities which are being provided by all those terrorist and terrorist organizations. But as soon as the world takes its watch away from Pakistan, Pakistan comes back to its same old agenda of spreading terrorism into India and the neighboring countries. Finally, he pointed to countries that allow their political and religious affinities to decide on the issues of designation of terrorist, blocking and unblocking requests at the United Nations Security Council for such reason, rather than technically evaluate the evidence against these individuals. Now, one of the most important things Mr. Jaishankar did was he was very vocal. He indirectly mentioned China, Malaysia and Turkey. Now these countries, they are actually those countries who have been helping Pakistan at several occasions. Like if we speak about China, China at many occasions has vetoed whenever it came to the declaration of Azhar Mahmood being a global terrorist. China has always vetoed. However, sooner we have seen that Azhar Masood has been declared as an international terrorist. Similarly, countries like Malaysia, Turkey, they have been supporting Pakistan in FATF. And they have been constantly asking that Pakistan is doing quite well, so there should be some relaxation from FATF towards Pakistan. Mr. Jaishankar very clearly said that the political and the religious affinities should not come in between when it's about designating a particular terrorist as a global one. Rather, these countries have to evaluate the technical evidences that are present against all these individuals. It was a clear-cut message from Mr. Jaishankar that now it's high time. Countries have to leave their political and religious affinities, but they have to realize and they have to come together. They have to be on the same page if the worlds want to finish the entire issue of terrorism. The way forward, while Mr. Jaishankar's words were meant for the global struggle with terrorism since 2001, their import is for India's particular problems with Pakistan and cross-border terrorism in the present for the impending decision at the FATF plenary next month. Though Mr. Jaishankar was speaking about the global struggle that is going on right now with terrorism since 2001, but we have to understand that India has been facing this problem for an even longer time. And India, on many international fronts, has said this thing very clearly that it is Pakistan who is actually responsible for the entire problem. And the decision that will be taken by FATF will be of great importance, that what they decide, whether they want to keep the grey status of Pakistan to be continued, or they downgrade it, or they let it off. It will be of great importance that what exactly the FATF decides here. Pakistan's recent action, including the sudden arrest and quick convictions of the most wanted figures like Zakir Rahman Lakwi and Hafiz Saeed, and the warrant of the JEM chief Masood Azhar, all in the cases of terror financing, indicate that Islamabad is aware of the importance of these decisions for its economic future. For the moment, the government is appearing to fall in line with the FATF 27-point action plan. Like I said, that Pakistan now can observe the heat. Pakistan is literally facing the heat, and he knows that if proper actions are not taken at this point of time, then Pakistan has to be ready for various economic sanctions. Because if Pakistan is being put into the blacklist category by FATF, so there will be a complete trouble. No assistance will be given to Pakistan in any case. That's the reason we have recently seen that the quick conviction of Hafiz Saeed and Zakir Rahman Lakwi took place. Also, warrant was issued against Azhar Masood. However, we have to see that the entire warrants issued, they are in the cases of terror financing and not for supporting terrorism. So that's a big deal. These people should be charged, these people should be convicted with all the crimes which they have done, especially with respect to the 26/11 attacks that India has faced in Mumbai in the year 2008. But Pakistan is actually appearing like it has to follow all the action points which have been mentioned in the 27 action point plan. By drawing the connection between the actions of the UNSC and the FATF together, Mr. Jaishankar is indicating that India is not only watching what Pakistan does, but also how the international community walk the talk on the zero tolerance to terrorism. Now, it is quite important that the UNSC, the FATF, they have to work together. They have to see, they have to address the issue. Also, the matter of Pakistan right now, which is impending in the FATF plenary meeting that is going to help next month, is of great importance. But India is now actually looking at the entire international arena, that how actually they act. Because see, the situation has been, many countries have been regularly talking about the terrorist activities, but they are doing nothing. So it is high time that whatever you are saying, you have to implement it. It's time for walk the talk. And India is primarily looking at the international front, that it is high time that they realize this issue and take required measures in order to end this complete entire menace. So viewers, this was with today's editorial analysis. A question that can be framed with reference to today's analysis is: terrorism is emerging as a competitive industry over the last few decades. Analyze the above statement. So viewers, I hope you liked today's editorial analysis. Thank you very much.